Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Show. This is the Monday Power Ranking panel. This is Carl, and as I say every week, I'm joined by, well, maybe I'm just going to say some of the smartest baseball guys I know. Certainly my favorite guys to talk baseball with. We got a lot to get into. It's good to get the four guys together, round table. I've kind of settled into this. Like, I'm always interested now at the start of these shows. Klemmer, I don't know if it's a morning thing or if it's a shaving thing, but sometimes you come on here and you honestly look like you're one good audition away from becoming a Hollywood star, and other times you come on here and you look like shit.
Yeah, it's a morning thing today. I'm not in a bad mood today. Last week I was in a bad mood. Today I'm fine. I just woke up, have a sick dog in the house, so haven't gotten a lot of sleep. So that explains today.
Well, it's early as we record this. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's very early for the second. We're getting the boys together. We're going to have a great discussion. There's plenty of baseball here to put together a good 1 through 9. Before we get into it, though, I just want vibe check. Everybody's good. Hubs, you're okay?
Yeah, we're chilling.
Heading to New York in a few hours, dozen times. So yeah, definitely going to be a fun week.
Yep, spent the whole day with Nate at the hospital yesterday. Got morning baseball today. Yankees are at 11:30. We're feeling good. Let's go.
You're a team guy. If this is your first time joining us for a power ranking panel, what we're going to do is put together our 1 through 9 through a very vetted, serious process. We have a batting order we put together. This week, it's back to age. It's going to go Klemmer 1. I'm sitting in the 2-hole. Hubs, you're going to hit 3. And Castellani, you're 4. Is that okay?
Yeah, Klemmer's the oldest person by far, so he has to go first here.
It's sadly true. I can't even argue that.
How old are you?
43.
80.
Okay, I'm 36. Hubs, how old are you?
29.
That's it?
Yeah, I know. I look so much older.
No, hold on a second. I thought you've been working at Barstool for 20 years.
I've been there. It'll be 7, I think, this fall.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember Barstool without you there, so that's why. Yeah, so
it was right when they made the move to NYC. I became an unpaid intern.
Well, I should look old as shit too. So
not it's also an editor in chief under 30. Does Forbes know about this? Have they written about you?
They don't want to write about me.
Missing out.
No one's missing out. Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is becoming a little too personal. We don't like to do that with Barstool Baseball. We like to talk baseball. Klemmer, you're up first. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this way since the season started. It's going to keep being that way. It's the Rays at number 1. I watched a few Rays games. They played the Mets this week. I went to one of the games. It's just when the Mets did take 2 or 3 of that series, I'll say that. But you watch the Rays though, and they just keep hammering you. Like, they have that talent. They're never really out of a game. They're number 1 in the American League in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage. They were number 2 in the American League in ERA. They've had some pitching injuries. We talked about that last week. They seem to recover nicely. I mean, they have so much depth. They sent Yanni Chirinos down after he pitched 5 pretty good innings against the Mets. They used kind of a bullpen game. They used him in kind of that middle chunk. He was really good, and they set him down. They just have so much depth. It's almost like, it's like next man up. Doesn't matter who gets hurt. Oh, shit, we lost Springs. We lost Rasmussen. Doesn't matter. The next guy up. They still got McClanahan. You still got Bradley. You still got Eflin. And they said they can cobble together enough pitching. And their hitting is so good. I mean, like I said, Isaac Paredes had 2 home runs, 5 RBI game. And, it's the same kind of thing for them as next man up. They have, I think, 3 different guys with 10 or more home runs already. Is that right? It's crazy.
Yes.
They just keep delivering. Yeah, Diaz has 11. Arizona.
How would you say that?
Whoa.
I always mispronounce his name. There's a whole bunch of things I can't say.
Nobody say it. Nobody say it. He's got to say it.
Randy I'm going to get so much shit for this.
You didn't even try and correct yourself from the first time. You're just going with that again.
I can't. So there's a bunch of words I can't say. This is
clearly.
Yeah.
No.
Have you been saying this your whole?
No, in my mind. So obviously he's been a big player for a long time. I call him in my mind Randy Arizona because
because you say it like Arizona,
and it's become that. So Randy.
Hey, Randy's such a strong name. Like, it doesn't matter what Randy.
Randy's such a
Rick.
strong first name that you can ride with that name, like a Brazilian soccer player. Just be like, it just Randy with an exclamation point at the
Someone
end. Yeah.
say it right for me, please.
Arozarena.
Arozarena, thank you.
How have we been doing this podcast for this long, and this is the first time we've caught
He's
this?
just been going with
there's
Randy.
There's a bunch of names I can't say. There's a bunch of things.
Yeah, we got to find all these out.
Yeah, you'll hear them over time. So he also has 10 home runs.
Yeah.
Okay, how many does Brandon and Josh? How many do the Lowe twins have? One's low, the other one's low. But
Brandon's got 8. Josh has 10.
Yep.
And Josh in some cases is leading off, and for how familiar outsiders are, like, he's a very tall, slender, young, good-looking prospect. Castellani, you probably know his background a little bit tighter than I do. And then Brandon in the four hole, the undersized second baseman, went to Maryland, got drafted in the 4th round in 2014. Wasn't a big power hitter then, but the Rays have converted him into situations where they're like, and this is what they do with their player development. It's like, we're not going to ask you to be a 5-tool guy that does everything well. We're going to ask you to be elite at a couple things. And we're going to teach you how to do it. Pull side power. So they do that with a ton of guys in their lineup. They're very fucking good with it. And that's why when you say at this point in the season, they got 3 guys with 10 home runs, like probably their most vicious power hitter. I don't know if Brandon Lowe, you can say that about him, but he's pretty fucking close. And he's not one of those guys at the top of the list.
They're one of those teams that it seems like every decision they make ends up favoring them in some capacity. You brought up Isaac Paredes, Klemmer, and I'm not going to go too far back to the Tigers trade, but like, I think we were all in the moment being like, why are you getting rid of Austin Meadows? Like, this guy's been one of your best players the last few years. I mean, I think that often when we talk about player development, we forget the fact that development doesn't end the second you get to the major leagues. You know, like you can fix a player, and they do a masterful job of that. Isaac Paredes is OPS plus in Detroit, 57 games, 65. In Tampa Bay, 119. Yeah. They fix guys when they get there, regardless of whether it's in the minor leagues or major league level.
I also think it's situational too, though, where they play their guys and how they like. Paredes probably got put in shitty situations with the Tigers, where the Rays are almost always deploying their guys in such good situations.
For sure.
One thing on Josh Lowe, very interesting, at least what I saw from the Yankees, they weren't letting him hit against lefties, and it almost felt like a reprieve when they were taking him out. And I'm looking at his splits. He's got 114 at-bats against righties, hitting 307 with a 989 OPS. Against lefties, only 14 at-bats, but still holding his own, 286 batting average, 412 on base, 571 slugging. It's really weird how they just aren't letting him hit against lefties, and he's kind of hitting lefties when he's in there. So when they start to allow him to hit everyone, that's going to be even bigger of a problem. But he scares me. And he's a big dude, like just an intimidating presence at the plate. Really hope they don't let him hit against lefties moving forward.
I'm very interested in what their deadline is going to look like, because there are holes with the pitching injuries. And the Rays, the Rays typically are a team that doesn't rock the boat too much they'll make their moves. They went out a few years ago. They got Nelson Cruz. But like, I feel like if there's a year where it's like, you know what, maybe sacrifice one of those top guys, it's this year, because it just seems like it's set up for them to make a deep run.
It's only May 21st, and they have blown through some arms. Like, it's going to continue to happen. Like, we keep saying, they're going to be okay. We're only like 6 or 7 weeks into this thing. Right. There's a whole long way to go here. We don't know who else. Like, is Rasmussen even going to come back at this point? Right. When are you going to hear from Glasnow? Right. They're going to have to 100% add a pitcher.
That's going to be the X factor of the rest of the season, is what version of Tyler Glasnow are you going to get? If you get the guy that showed up, in the early part of 2019, you're talking about a team, with 1 or 2, maybe even 3 aces on it.
They have some incredible offensive depth. 11 guys on their team have 6 or more home runs.
Jesus.
I mean, there are teams that will not have 11 guys hit 6 or more home runs all season long.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to get to the number 2 team. I do want to go back to this with the Rays. There was a story that came out this morning from Ken Rosenthal's Athletic that there is very serious conversation with the Rays up for sale. And that's obviously has kind of been in the background. But if you were to say what baseball teams are for, right away you go to the Nationals because they've been listed for sale. They're trying to figure out their TV revenue thing. And then you'd kind of float down to the Orioles, because the idea is once they get that, once the market is set for how much that TV deal is worth, and the Orioles have an understanding of how much they're worth because they're in a very comparable market to the Nationals, and then you would say Pittsburgh. I don't know where Oakland goes. You would like to see Bob Nutty, and it's like, dude, how much more value can you get out of these Pirates if you're not going to spend money? It's at the point where now the franchise values, you would imagine would start to have some sort of diminishing return. But the Rays now pop up. And so you talk about the trade deadline, and what I can't think about is like if I was Stu Sternberg and I'm selling, and that guy's a piece of shit, by the way, I got to get that out there. If I was selling the Rays, does that compel me to trade at does that have an impact on the trade deadline if you're the owner? Do you matter? Because I would say
usually you don't want to trade, right?
I want to win the World Series before I get out. I want to win like the World Series, and then I want to sell a Rays.
Yeah, but it's always interesting. Like when the Nats were about to be sold, like there was the Juan Soto situation, like whether you want to trade now, and then same thing with the Angels, right? But then Moreno decided to reverse course, but they were going to hold on to Ohtani and not want to trade. It's always interesting, like how these teams operate on the verge of being sold.
I mean, a good example is the 0-2 Angels. They were owned by Disney at the time. And they did go ahead and make some moves, not a ton, but they put themselves in a good position because it was kind of a surprise year when they won. And then they won the World Series. And because they won, they say that, they got a little extra, for the sale just because you had a world champion on the block. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Rays go ahead and might not be a huge move, might just be a move for like Lucas Giolito, like a rental, that kind of move. And then try to see how far you can go in the playoffs. I wouldn't expect them to trade for someone who has, long-term contract value. If
for sure.
About selling.
They feel like a team that's going to pillage the White Sox 100%.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the big issue. I think I think that word is out that it's not a good idea to trade with the Rays too. So I feel like teams are going to be more reluctant to do it at this point. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Number 2. They check all the boxes. It's the Texas Rangers. Okay. They've got the they have the second highest run differential at plus 98. Their Pythagorean win theorem puts them at like 31 in I believe 17. So they've had a couple tough luck losses, or I guess if you want to say that the data would say, the advanced data, I don't know if this is advanced data, but the composite metrics would say that they are the second best team in baseball if you adjusted for that shit. Now, here's what's really interesting to me. They're 7-3 over their last 10. They just got Corey Seager back full-time in the lineup. If you saw him yesterday, he hit a 2-0 pitch about 430 feet to center field. Just absolutely shit on it and looks gorgeous. And we're talking about a team that has strung and gotten the most out of Jonah Heim and Nathaniel Lowe and fucking Ezekiel Duran and Josh Young and Robbie Grossman. You go down the list and you're adding one of the best players of his generation when he's healthy and on the field, and he has not played yet without a shift. I keep saying this. He's going to slug like 650 without a shift. Like, this is what he can do that. He can be that fucking good. And Dane Dunning, we talked about him in the American League Roundup on Friday. I'm going to use the big boy show to say it. Dane Dunning is we're going to the point where you're going to say Dane Dunning over 162 is legit. Do I want him at the top going into October? No, come on, man. Let me cook for a second. But very, very good depth in the starting rotation. You see without DeGrom, they still go out and they cook. And they are leading baseball in runs per game. They just fucking smash people. They've scored double digits in like 13 or 14 games, by far the most in baseball.
I didn't have them as high as 2, but I'm glad somebody put them there because I feel like the Rangers deserve a ton of credit for being one of the few major league teams that has definitely been all in, even before this season. Like, we're going to spend the money. We're going to sign big-time free agents. Maybe they work, maybe they don't, but we have a good system in place, good farm system, some up-and-coming guys. We're going to have a core that's capable of winning when these guys arrive as opposed to waiting 2 or 3 years. And they have, and I think the most – you brought up a ton of really good players. They have maybe the 2 most underrated players in baseball right now. All Adolis Garcia does is drive in runs. He's got 50 RBIs already this season, and we're 40-something games into the season. And right now, do you know who leads the American League in B-WAR? It's Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien is having an MVP caliber season right now, and I feel like we never talk about him. So, yeah, this is – like I said, I didn't have him as high as 2, but I did say on the American League show last week, like, if there's anyone expecting, and I do think the Astros are going to hit their stride, and I think they kind of have already, this is going to be a very close divisional race. They're not going anywhere.
And DeGrom's coming back, I believe. He's like working. I mean, he's gonna be back at some
Yeah,
point.
we'll
How long?
see.
How long does he stay there? That could put them even more over the top.
My
But the
concern
fact
with
that they're
this
doing
pick
this without him is very impressive.
My concern with this pick is the Astros. So the Astros have
Right.
won 6 in a row. They're starting to gain on the Rangers. They're only 2 back now. Altuve's back. I just wonder if the Rangers are going to be able to hold the Astros back. I know, and that's a concern.
It's
Have
a
they
valid
played head to
concern.
head yet?
It's a
I
valid
think
concern.
once.
Okay.
I believe they did once early.
Because those are going to be those are going to be the most impactful, meaningful Rangers Astros games we've had in ever.
Yeah,
Right?
probably probably since 2015. I think when they were fighting for the division. But
So they took 2 of 3 from them mid April in Houston. Texas did, and then they don't play again for the second half of the beginning of July they play.
Okay. Listen, if they played now, I would handicap it pretty fair. And if someone wanted to come in and take the Astros right now at 3 with how hot they've been, I did watch them play against the Cubs. I still think they have some, like if Jose Abreu was clicking on all cylinders and there was just more, like there's a lot of predictable things going on with the Astros. They still have another gear to get to. We all know that. We're all waiting for the day to come in here and be like, is it the Astros or is it the Rays? And we're not there yet. And there is this element to the Rangers where like they should be rewarded for the fact that they have almost a 100 run differential through mid-May. Like that's not a joke, guys. The Astros are plus 36. There's a fucking 60 run difference here through 8 weeks of baseball between the two teams. I know that the Astros would be favored in a 7-game series right now because it's the Astros. But the Rangers have played extremely well. In my lead point with why I'm confident about the Rangers also improving is Corey Seager. And he's so talented and so good. And he's healthy. And if he can stay in that lineup and do damage, the damage is going to be more substantial than any damage we've seen him create. Last time I'm saying this, he got shifted against 99% of the time there is no player who will benefit more from no shift in baseball than Corey Seager. We've not seen him hit without the shift yet. He's only played in 14 games. So I'm really high on him. I'm really fucking high on him.
I'll say this.
That was serious. Sorry.
The 14 games he's played, he's looked great. So there might be something to that. His on base percentage in those 14 games is 443. So, Corey Seager, like Carl said, he could really benefit from this, and you could see some huge numbers.
Hey guys, real quick, I've enjoyed the first and second discussions here because it's easy to settle in and just be like, well, the Rays are fucking good. Like, no, we absolutely destroyed that conversation. I really like where our heads are at with the Rangers. Thanks for calling out Adolis Garcia, leads the league in home runs and RBIs in the American League. And people have been on like, hey, give this guy credit. And it's easy to forget about him. It's easy for him to be a 5th or 6th talking point for the Rangers. So I'm sorry to get so long here with just a pick that people are going to get upset about, but it's coming from the heart that I like Texas too. Hubs, you're up 3 here.
Yeah, I think that was a fair pick. I had him a little lower. That's fine. Number 3 could have gone one of 2 teams here. And I'm going with the hotter team, or at least maybe not necessarily this series. And if they lose today, people are like, why are they 3 if they're losing 3 or 4 to the Cardinals? But it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they finally have arrived, really, for me. They're 29-18 as we talk here. They've got Kershaw going on the mound against Flaherty later today. They just are starting to look more and more like the Dodgers every day. Their starting rotation has a lot of question marks. No doubt about it. Like right now, like what's left? It's like Kershaw, Gonsolin just came back, right? And Syndergaard. Dustin May just goes down, appears to have avoided any like serious stuff, but he's still gone for 6 weeks. And after that, it's kind of like who's pitching for us today? But their lineup is terrifying. James Outman has had an outstanding year. Freddie Freeman is starting to get into that point where like everyone's like Ronald Acuna is your MVP, and he is, no question right now. But Freddie Freeman is putting together a fucking season. And Mookie Betts is still Mookie Betts. That lineup is terrifying. Max Muncy is putting together like a Joey Gallo-esque like vintage year. Very low batting average, super high OPS. On bases like in the mid 3s, whatever. He hitting a ton of home runs. Really just a home run or bust guy now. The Dodgers lineup scares me. Their rotation scares me for the other reasons. But right now, I think I have them firmly at 3.
they've firmly established themselves as the best team in that division. I mean, you talk about depth. How many pitching injuries have they had? And they just keep rolling. And it's I think I brought this up a few shows ago. I almost feel like we take it for granted because like there's two first ballot Hall of Famers that we're talking about there with Freeman and Mookie Betts, and not to mention you got Kershaw in the rotation who's still pitching tremendous. Yeah, I had him a little bit lower mainly because of the series against the Cardinals kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I do worry, even with a team as deep as the Dodgers, about the pitching injuries. Like, I do feel like you'll need a healthy Urias, or you're going to need hopefully a healthy Dustin May if you want to make a deep run through
Tony
October.
Gonsolin is. I'm sorry, but you got to say Tony Gonsolin's name because he's fucking unbelievable and he's healthy.
He is severely underrated. That's a good point. He's got the lowest ERA of any pitcher the last 2 years, I think. Going back to the beginning of last season. So yeah, they remain a juggernaut. They're on the verge, I feel like. And look, the Diamondbacks, to their credit, have held their own. I feel like they're on the verge of like a few weeks from now, we're going to look up and be like, oh shit, the Dodgers have an 8-game lead. Like they're hitting their stride. They
no
know
one really has pulled like that. They kind of gave the Padres like a couple weeks, be like, okay, hey, are you legit?
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Padres did nothing. Diamondbacks have actually held their own, like for what they have. The Dodgers are like, you know what? All right, enough with this shit. We're gonna start playing good baseball.
Yeah, there's two ways I kind of look at this. So one way is this has been kind of a disastrous week for the Dodgers. You got Urias, you got May. I mean, those are pretty big pieces to go down. And then on top of it, they haven't looked particularly great against the Cardinals. On the other side of it, they have a 2-game lead in the West. Just like Chris said, like, is there any real doubt that they're going to have, a lead going forward? They're going to win the West. The Padres, they've lost 4 in a row. They're 8.5 games back. I mean, the Padres are worse than the Giants right now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of competition right now in the West. It's really the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers are the better team. So I don't mind this pick for that reason, but I feel a lot less comfortable about the Dodgers than I did last week.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I think with the injuries, I guess the division opening up the way it has, I feel like they can cruise to like 92 wins and then potentially turn it on. But yeah.
Is Bobby Miller an option for them this year?
I mean, probably not.
No?
I don't know.
He's just not pitching like great in the minors, but like if with so many injuries, does that force him?
Making a
no.
trade.
You don't need to start reshuffling player development stuff because of injuries and people that can be impact. That's why you got Noah Syndergaard making 9 starts, even though he's pitching to a 5.8 ERA. Like, there's clearly better pitchers in the road, but it's just part of the player development process the Dodgers have. Like, they're on their own timetable. They do this all the time with guys. Like, Dustin May could have been pitching in that rotation fucking years before he became pitching in that rotation. All right, hand up, boys. Everybody slap themselves in the face, and we got to start doing this with the Dodgers. And I want people listening to this who have not thought about this. Will Smith is one of the best players in baseball, and we've been talking about the Dodgers now for 7-8 minutes and casually. And he will not get. It'll be tough for him to get the cumulative numbers to become a Hall of Fame type player. He's got about 10 wins above replacement, which isn't the bread and butter for this type of shit. But like, you need 45, 50 to be in that conversation as a catcher. He's 28, 29 years old, caught 3 years at Louisville. Those knees are there. My point though is this. If this fucking career started 2 years earlier, we're talking about like clearly one of the best catchers of his time in his era in his generation. He'll get overlooked because JT Realmuto looks better with the fucking chewing the gum hard. He'll get overlooked because Adley Rutschman's a sexier name and was the first overall pick. Will Smith came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere when he got to Louisville. He's coming out of nowhere with the Dodgers. Like, he's just such a good fucking player. And the other thing is, sure, this staff's awesome and all that stuff. They're super talented. He's out there catching them and then putting up a 571 slug. That's insane because these guys are, I mean, he's working with these pitchers. These are great pitchers. It's his fucking staff. So I just get passionate about a guy like Will Smith because Klemmer, don't make me say Yogi Berra's name, but he got disrespected his entire career, and I don't want to see the same thing happen to Will Smith.
Well, yeah, Will Smith and Yogi Berra on 2 different planes, but Will Smith though is his career is really interesting. He was good instantly. Look at his slugging percentage. His career: 571, 579, 495, 465, 571 this year. That's, he's never been not awesome. And he's a catcher. It's hard to do. His career slug is over 500 as a catcher. He's completely underrated. He gets lost in the shuffle of the Hall. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. His career started too late, whatever. But he's still a really good player. But he's in a clubhouse with a bunch of Hall of Famers, so it's easy to lose track of him. But Carl's absolutely right. Will Smith is a huge reason why they've been so good the last few years. And he's a big reason why I think players like him, like these really talented guys that you might overlook, are exactly why the Dodgers, like Chris said, are going to run away with this thing.
He still has 2 more years of ARB after this year.
That's how they do their playing time. He only played in 50 games his first year, then another 38 games and stuff. Last point on Will Smith, and this is what I love about Will Smith. All right, very good friend of mine is the associate head coach at Louisville, coached me at Illinois fucking 2 decades ago. And he said, this fucking kid, he goes, this story of this kid getting to the big leagues and being this good. I want to be clear about this. Will Smith slugged .330 his sophomore year at college at Louisville, catching 57 games. They still ran his ass out there for 57 games with a .330 slug. That is utterly pathetic. It's one of the best college baseball programs. I believe they went to the World Series that year in 2015. My broader point is it takes a type of character where they're just running you out there, and it's like something's going to click for this kid one day. It's going to click. It has to, because he's a ball player and he's that type of guy. So to see him, we have a .571 slug right now, like .330 with a metal bat.
True. It's true.
It's one of my favorite things about the sport is where do these guys come from? And like, what do you mean you suck? You know, I'm sorry. Last one on this. Everybody knows Matt Duffy. I would imagine you guys know the name Matt Duffy.
Oh yeah.
Matt Duffy had 0 home runs in college.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Played all 3 years at Long Beach State. All 3 years. Had 0 home runs.
And then he won a World Series, his very first taste in the majors, right?
Hit 298 as a rookie, finished second in the rookie of the year voting in 2015. 2014, he won a World Series with the Mets. He's got 30 career homers. I think he's got like 700 career hits. He's like a 290 career hitter. Hit 0 home runs in college. That's it. My heart will get sucked into these stories. I'm sorry to get so. Chris, you're up 4. Take it for a test drive.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm going with a team that I had at number 2. And it's a team that I think we keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I don't think it's dropping. Baltimore Orioles at number 4. Guys, the Baltimore Orioles are playing at a 106 win pace right now. To put that into perspective, 2 years ago, they lost 110. And they're not, and the way that they're winning, watching them in this most recent series, they're becoming what I thought the Blue Jays would be, which is this lineup that is seemingly impossible to pitch to. There's not a lot of easy outs, a lot of good young players. Yesterday, down 5-2. Schneider goes with Romano for the 4-out save. O'Hearn hits as clutch a home run as you could possibly hit. I mean, total crowd silencer to tie it. And then you get to extra innings there, and it's game over because that bullpen is ridiculous. Felix Bautista might be the best closer in baseball right now. I mean, he is just straight up filthy. I don't know, man. I mean, like, with each week, and the flaws are apparent. Like, no, if they go into, no disrespect to the guy, but if they go into game 1 of a playoff series and Kyle Gibson is their starter, I'm probably not going to feel great. But we keep trying to come up with excuses as to when they're going to fall off, and they kind of just keep doing the damn thing. They are one of my favorite teams to watch in the sport right now. I think that they have built such a tremendous core there, and they are going about their business like a team that's been through this before, and that makes them incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, hand up. I was wrong. I thought they were going to.
Me too.
I thought they were going to take a step back. I thought they'd go like 78, 84 this year, and then next year win 90 games. But instead, they've taken that next jump. And the thing I like about them is I think they can get better. I think at the deadline, they bring in 2 arms that are even decent, and then they're going to get better. It's not hard to improve that team. And that's crazy to say about a team that's on pace for 106 wins, but there's avenues they can get better. And if they get better, imagine how much more dangerous they're going to be, especially for Hub's Yankees. Like, this is these Orioles are serious. They're really good. And you got the Rays, Orioles. That American League East is just such a juggernaut right now.
Yeah.
They have a huge series with the Yankees coming up here at the stadium on Tuesday. Shockingly, every and the Orioles are unbelievable. And that win yesterday, like you said, Chris, was jarring. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, they just tied this? Now they just won? Okay. The Yankees took 2 of 3 for them in Baltimore this year. One of the weirder, like, I know the Yankees are back on track now, but like the Yankees were in a rut after that. And it's like, I kept going back, like, how did we win 2 of 3 against this team They're very good. The question remains to me, will they add? Not should they add. Will they add? Will their front office see all of this, see that they're the second team in baseball with 30 wins, and that their offense is all here and all have arrived? Can they add to this rotation? Will they? Can they get it out of the stupid owner's head? Stop worrying about your concerts and worry about your team. This team is awesome. Build on it.
I think my guess, because I'm familiar with cheap owners, my guess is they do enough to get to to comfortably get to the playoffs. But if that earth shattering, and I know this didn't work out, but Tiger's going to get David Price type of deal, fuck the contract, we'll take him on. They're not going to make that move. But no. Dude, if they're not going to stand pat. They're playing too well to stand pat.
Hey, tell me this: if they go 6-0 this week, will you put them 1 next week? If they sweep the Yankees and then they sweep the Rangers, will someone have the balls to come in here and say the Orioles are the best team in baseball?
If they're in first, will they be in first place at this point?
Probably not.
If they sweep next week,
no.
I'd put them comfortably too. Then, which is where I have them right now. Which is where I had them, but for so this list,
they're 3.5 games behind Tampa Bay. So next week, say they come in, they're 2 games behind Tampa Bay, but they've swept this week. They go and they shit pump the Yankees and the Rangers.
Sure,
are they that good? Is what I'm trying to say. I'm saying,
what's
the scope of how willing you are to commit to the Orioles?
Yeah. If they sweep the week, no doubt. Number 1.
Now let's out of our hands. Tell the Orioles. Now I want the Orioles to know when the Orioles take the field this week, just so they know. Barstool Baseball says you guys win 6 in a row, you guys go right to the top. That may influence it. 2 things I want to point out about the Orioles. I've always hated their pitcher development. They don't have any pitchers that they have to bring along their own. They all suck. They're very good at converting guys into relievers. And Grayson Rodriguez is the opportunity to be very special. And it's I just have this taste in my mouth as I watch him pitch of oh, here comes another big-time Orioles pitching prospect who's just going to fall to the wayside until a team who's good at developing pitchers scoops his ass up at 26 years old, teaches him how to throw a cutter, and he takes off for the races. I just hate the Orioles in their player development. Fucking hate it.
I think in their pitcher development, position player wise, they've done a wonderful job. But that is a good point. Who was the last Chris Tillman was okay, but who was the last Orioles starter that they developed who had their best years in Baltimore? Because you could go to Gausman, but he fixed it.
Brian Mattis, I always thought he was going to be awesome.
Of course, everyone thought Brian Mattis was sweet, 6'4", polished, good changeup. You go down the list, they've just got guy after guy after guy that's just like that.
Yeah,
and a lot of them might be the answer to your question, Castellani.
Who?
Sidney Ponson.
Well, we're going. Oh my God, we're going way back.
What about Bedard?
Rodrigo Lopez.
Bedard was 30 when he was good with the Orioles. What about Mike Mussina out of Southern California?
Well, yeah, that's obvious. But
we're proving our points right now. I feel.
Wait, I was right on Bedard. He started his career with Baltimore, and 2007 had a 3.16 ERA.
Bedard might be the answer. Rodrigo Lopez had a pretty good career.
Oh yeah. There's Rodrigo.
They were fine, but I mean, we're talking. They weren't exactly stars. I feel
okay, Gunnar Henderson has an 800 OPS over almost the last 2 weeks.
What did I say? I said on this program.
No, but listen to me. This is where it hurts. Because this is why you fucking read the data hubs. If you were going through the data, you would know Gunnar Hunt. I'm dying because we rated him the most average player in a recent show, or one of the most average players. He's not walking anymore now. So he's only walked twice in the last 2 weeks. So the average is up. So what is that adjustment process look like when you have a high walk rate as he had, but he was only hitting 170? So now you're starting to see, okay, he's putting the ball in play. The OPS is 800 over the last 2 weeks, but he's not walking anymore. So this will be a fun thing to watch Gunnar Henderson's box scores throughout the next couple weeks as he's going through a fundamental adjustment process. The Orioles have committed to him. He's going to be playing third base on this team the entire season when they get to October. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, I said on this program 3 weeks ago or something like that he had 7 balls hit harder than 100 miles an hour or more, in the span of 7 days. I was he's about to get hot. And so, Carl, he's decided, I'm going to stop taking pitches. Now I'm just going to swing really hard, and here I am. Really good for his mentality, Carl, that you said. They've clearly told him, it don't matter what you're doing. You're our guy. You're not going down. Yankees did the same thing with Volpe. It helps these rookies to know, okay, Just breathe. It's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Settle in. We got you. That's what they did with Gunnar Henderson. It's working.
And it also helps that when he got called up, he was not a lone wolf there. Like, I think the Tigers did a really bad job of that, where, like, when the second Green and Torkelson arrived, they're like, here, you're the guys. Whereas I think there's some comfort that comes to the fact it's like, okay, I'm behind Adley, I'm behind Cedric Mullins. Like, I can do my thing and not have to worry about, at least right now, being the star of this franchise.
No doubt.
Yep.
Where we at?
Torkelson looks okay.
He said him and Green are coming around.
Clemmer's up 5. Clemmer's up 5. I'm sorry. What is his last weekly slash?
His last week, I don't know. He homered yesterday. It's probably in the 800s. This most recent week was not as good as the week before it, but.
Okay. And last thing, while we're on the Tigers, do you guys have a different style of belt loop for your away uniforms?
Dude, that's a good question. I know. I feel like if Tigers Twitter is going to crucify me for not knowing this. I'm going to say no because I feel like I would know if they did.
I want to look into that. Clemmer, you're up 5.
5 for me is the team I actually have at number 2. It's the Braves. I'm surprised they dropped this far. I mean, the Braves are really good. They got a 4.5 game lead in the NL East. I know they have some pitching issues, but I'm kind of shocked they dropped this far. I mean, I love my Mets, obviously, but the Braves are playing at a different level still, even with the pitching injuries. And I think there's also, like, talk about how the Orioles have room for improvement. So do the Braves. I mean, Michael Harris II is going to play better. He just will. I mean, he can't play this badly. No one can. And they have some other areas, too. I mean, I think Austin Riley is going to level up. I know he's kind of been
He'll be fine.
Yeah. He'll be fine, exactly. I think Sean Murphy will take a step back, obviously, as the season goes on. But for the most part, some of these guys can get better and better. And you got Ronald Acuna, who I don't think he has.
Unbelievable.
Like, he is just, it's unlimited. He can, I don't know what he's capable of. He's so good. The Braves are still, I mean, I would love to say the Mets. I think the Mets are back as far as being competitive. Hopefully we've had a nice little run here, keep it going. But, I mean, the Braves are in the East right now.
Yeah, but here's the problem with the Braves. The Braves are 4-6 over their last 10, and they're average at home. They're 11-10 at home. They should have home. Why are they so good on the road, but they're trash at home? Scary thing, though, about the Braves, I believe the Braves have like a 950 OPS against left-handed pitching. If you are a lefty, just take the day off against the Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr. is just like him and Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy hit a pop-up the other day that was a home run to right field. I've never seen anything like it. Off the end of the bat, cleared the fence. He's got the second highest win above replacement, I believe, in Fangraphs. Second highest WAR for Fangraphs. Sean Murphy, Wayne State, fucking middle of nowhere, Michigan, no offense.
Wait, was Sean Murphy's a Wayne State guy?
Yeah, how about that?
Really? You see, all that talk is about Hunter Brown. I did not know that about Sean Murphy. Shout out to him.
Let me make sure I got that Wayne State.
Right
state. Okay.
Come
and get it, guys. Come and get it.
That's tough. The Braves had a very tough stretch here. They didn't handle themselves too well, kind of subpar, but they played Baltimore, Boston, Toronto, Texas, Seattle in succession. They have the Dodgers next. Not an easy schedule. June opens wide for them. They're going to smoke teams in June. They're going to post maybe like their best franchise record in June. They are playing nobodies in June. We're talking, they end May with Oakland, Arizona, then the Mets, Nationals, Tigers, Rockies, Phillies, Reds, Twins, Marlins. They're going to smoke teams in June. Yeah. And they will absolutely distance themselves from Klemmer and his old ass.
Had to take a shot. Catching shrapnel.
I want to drink beer with Bryce Elder.
Yeah.
Bryce Elder has the second highest win above, as the second highest B WAR for the Braves. Bryce Elder.
Yeah, who was the guy they had a few years ago that came? Oh, Ian Anderson, like in the playoffs that year, was spectacular. Bryce Elder is an interesting one, man. He is in the 9th percentile in fastball velo, 4th percentile in fastball spin. Just keeps getting guys out. Like his yeah. What's up?
Where's Ian Anderson?
He sucks. He sucks now. He's getting rocked. He's getting rocked in AAA.
Crazy.
Or at least he was as of a few months ago. Like he was their best starting pitcher in that postseason when they won it all. Like he had a no-hitter through 5 and they pulled him, and it's like I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just Fugazi, but I have not heard any rumors about him being called back up to the major league roster anytime soon.
Hold on. He isn't. He's only pitched one game this year in AAA. It's very likely injury related.
Okay,
It'll be a
fair.
physical. It's like if you're that dominant and you're that good. I mean, 135 innings, 105 hits, 107. His AAA. Yeah, his AAA numbers are sick.
Oh, we got the answer, guys. He had Tommy John.
Oh, that explains it.
In April, he had Tommy John.
That explains the one start.
That would do it.
You look like your soul left your body. What's wrong? If you're not watching this on the YouTube page and you're subscribed, listening to this in the feed, like I'm staring at Klemmer right now, and I'm getting like nervous because we're talking so positively about the Braves and do you have any Mets stuff you want to get off your chest right now?
I'm trying to delude myself that the Mets are good, and then I'm just thinking like, oh, the Braves. And then I was looking like I was like AJ Minter has an ERA of like
It's in the 8s, right?
It's in the 7s, yeah, and it's just it's like they can get better there too, and it's just like and then you hear the schedule that Hubs laid out in June, you're just like,
it's a cakewalk. I mean, they're just gonna bludgeon teams in June.
Yeah, the Braves are terrifying. I said I'm really shocked to get them at 5 here because they are a really scary team that can do a lot.
Yeah. That's as good a way to put it.
And they're in my division. But I mean, Hubs has it no easier. I mean, we're talk about the Rays and the Orioles and even the Blue Jays.
The run differential, and I'm just going to go in. I'm 6, right?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Or wait.
So
no, Carl is.
Oh, Carl, sorry. All right, so, one quick thing that you're just mentioning. The run differential heading into Sunday, AL East is plus 225. The next division is the Central at plus 13.
What?
Now those numbers get skewed a little bit because the West deserves to be higher, but the A's just
suck, right.
They just don't play baseball. So like the West is actually third at -8. They should be in like the hundreds if the A's like cared. But the AL East is plus 225.
It's ridiculous.
Castellani's Central is a -161.
Yeah, no, I knew that'd be rough. I was wondering if it was as bad in the reverse sense. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, I'm 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. This team hopefully next week this team's higher. I'm taking the Astros. Give a fuck.
Season debut, I believe.
Yeah, I know. People think there's another team, a popular team that's represented by one of the guys on the panel here that maybe could be 6. Here's my argument for the Astros. With starting pitching concerns, they're still second in baseball in run prevention at 163 runs. Now they're mid-tier. The offense has been, Jose Abreu's been, and I think that's the key there because if he's going, they're more than 100. I think on 199, 200 runs scored on the season. Here's where I really, really, really like the Astros. Okay, I watched the Cubs play them in a 3-game set down in Houston. If they have a playoff, it is fucking impossible to play in that place. You can have a 10-run lead in the 8th inning, and they're scoring 9 and then putting a guy on second base. It is never easy. Nothing about Houston is easy. And I don't even think they've gotten to where they can be yet. They're 9-1 over their last 10. They've played lollipops. But they've beat the lollipops, putting the Astros 6. Hubs, I love you. I fucking love talking baseball with you. I love your passion for your team. I think if the Yankees and the Astros played each other right now, I'm just giving a slight edge to the Astros. And last thing, I could be biased just because I watched my Cubs play them and they got their shit pumped after having leads and lost every way you could lose a game. But
that Wednesday comeback came out of nowhere. Like it happened so quickly.
It was casual.
It's just like, what? I remember coming home and I knew the score, like heading into that in the last inning, and then all of a sudden they just have the winning running on base. It's like, what's happening? So yeah, I'm not going to dispute it. I could make the case, and I probably would have made the case if I was in your position. But like, I'm not going to dispute it. They're on fire. They haven't played easy. They haven't played the hardest teams, and maybe that's coming up at some point here. But they got Altuve back. They survived being without Altuve. And now they're going to get on a roll. And yeah, maybe Jose Abreu starts to play baseball again. That will be really scary and unfortunate. But yeah, they're here. They're very much here.
That's the thing that kind of scares me about them is you have two guys, Maldonado obviously is in there for defense. He's 36. He's not hitting at all. I mean, I know they don't
No.
expect much, but he's really not hitting. And you have Abreu who's 36. He's not hitting. I guess there's some sort of cracks there, but I mean, come on, man. They're the Astros. Altuve's back. They've won 6 in a row. Like Carl said, if they were in a 7-game series against the Rangers, the Astros would be favored, and they should be. The Astros are really good and just definitely deserve to be this high. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep soaring up this list the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Bregman and Pena are both hitting about 700 OPSs right now. One of those is going to change.
Yeah.
Bregman's going to get
Bregman. It's probably
Bregman will get hot, especially. Yeah, I think Pena with the low walk rate kind of scares me. But I guess the one down. No, he's the Javi Baez reincarnated, dude. When you look at the chase rate and the one downside I have towards the Astros, and this is, I mean, in a way, it's almost a compliment. They're just not as good as they were last year. Now they could still win the World Series, and it wouldn't shock me if they did. But like watching them, like the bullpen isn't quite as dominant. Like you don't have Verlander, but dude, they played at a 90-win pace without the face of their franchise. And then you get to play Oakland right after that when he comes back. Like it's set up well for them to go on a run. They play some bad teams in June as well, so that they're going to get hot.
Yep.
I did have one. I think I had one. I'm sorry. I did. I had
go.
No, you know what? Actually, Hubs, I think my transition point was going to be out of that. Like, it is the Astros this week, but and I want to give this to like the Yankees fans that are tuning in and stuff. Like, no one's trying to troll anybody here. I know you guys have more wins, and I know that's like a fucking heated rival in the American League, and I don't have I'm not a part of that. I'm an outsider. I'm not fucking with you guys. We're just trying to keep it as straight as that. That said, now Hubs, you're up 7. If you don't take the Yankees here, we got to cancel the show. We just
this isn't biased. Like if you don't take the Yankees,
no, you're right.
It's impossible. The Yankees are playing much better baseball. They look much more like themselves of late, which is nice because it was really bleak for a while. They're 28-20. Aaron Judge, since he came off the IL in 12 games, he's getting the day off today because Aaron Boone likes to parlay those with day offs, and it's infuriating. But 12 games, 7 homers, 18 RBIs, an OPS of 1402. I mean, he's in one of those modes where if you pitch to him, you're stupid. Like it almost doesn't even matter if there's people on base. You were asking to get killed. He had 4 hits yesterday. Absolutely, I loved his swing also in extra innings. Shortened up his swing, like didn't try to hit the homer and just laced, just awesome. Just an awesome player. They are almost there today Luis Severino comes back. That's nice. We'll see how long that lasts. Considering Domingo Germán suspended, good timing there. And Rodon has gotten good news of late throwing, so maybe he's back in a month. If they can survive till then, and then the rotation becomes much more of a thing. But the hitting is there. Anthony Rizzo has been fantastic this year. 300 batting average. One of the few guys you thought was going to take a jump up with the shift ban. He has. I don't know if there's really data to support that he has. Like certain hits would have been robbed last year than they were, but he was expected.
He's rarely ever hit 300. I mean, that's data.
The data supported him being one of those guys to take a jump up in batting average and overall production with the shift ban, and we've seen it. He's been excellent. The back has not flared up. The Yankees look very good right now. Let's hope to keep it rolling.
Yeah,
big week. Baltimore and San Diego this week. Big week.
I want to bring up a point with Hubs here. Hubs and I were chirping a bit on Twitter yesterday. So Aaron Hicks got DFA'd. I posted Aaron Hicks' salary the next couple years. The Yankees owe him $9 million next year, $9 million the year after that. I think that's funny. So I posted that, and then Hubs is like, "Well, you guys are paying Cano," but I don't know. Maybe Hubs gets confused easily. We have Cohen who will spend money like crazy, doesn't care.
On overrated old pitchers. Yes, you can always keep doing that, Klemmer. I know. It's always in your arsenal. You can always just bring in a Bumgarner. I'm sure he's next, right?
The Yankees are very conscious of the luxury cap that you guys get really worried about hitting.
Clearly not. We just cut a guy with $25 million left. Maybe Hal just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
No, I think it means you're going to have $9 million less to spend next year.
No.
Oh no. What?
Also, I will say when they signed Hicks to this deal, in the back of their head they were like, okay, if he fucking fails, he flops out, we can this is $9 million every year.
Yeah. You can eat it.
This can't kill us. It took him 2 years to do this. They should have done this 2-3 years ago. He is horrible. It is funny though that he, for the first time in years, he actually started to hit the ball again. I think maybe in the back of their heads they think there's a chance that a team picks him up. That would be insane to me, but I think that's the only reason.
Someone's going to pick him up. Somebody will.
No, I'm talking like for his current money.
No.
Like on waivers. That would be crazy to me.
No, they wouldn't.
That's not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that would be like the logic for the time makes no sense. But I love Greg Allen. Bring him in for speed. He'll be awesome in his role. And the blessing of me taking Nate to the ER was that Aaron Hicks got DFA. And I was just like, the universe is giving me one here for taking one for the team I like.
For people who don't know, Hubs took his co-editor in chief to the ER and helped him out. He fucked and it turned out to not just be like, yeah, I'll do you a favor. It turned out to be like a lifetime memory, fucking good guy, solid move from you.
I almost missed the movie that I bought tickets for last night because I was there so long. But I made
it. That doesn't sit well with you.
Well, Klemmer misses the movies, so
I'm fine. Keep throwing shots at me, Hubs. Keep throwing shots.
Remember when you got COVID and broke your movie streak?
That did happen last year. Yes, it's a painful blow. That
shouldn't count.
You have Nestor Cortez ERA over 5. You know, he
looked a lot better his last start, but admittedly a problem. Admittedly a problem, but looked a lot better. Got through 6, almost went 7 because the bullpen was so fucked. But
I gotta give him credit because he is pitching better than Clark Schmidt, another Yankee.
Hey, he held the Reds down. He held the Reds down really good the other day. He did a good job. I will say the Blue Jays are an embarrassment to the league and just trying to pick fights with teams. They don't even know. They're so inside their own heads that they went out to take Manoah out by accident yesterday. They went out for a second mound visit in the same inning and had to pull him with 85 pitches. They are so inside their own heads right now. It is unbelievable to watch.
They're the Padres of the American League right now, where it's like you are the most top-heavy team. You should be so much better than they are. But am I pick 8? I think I am, right?
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to a team that, look, is flawed as hell, and we came into the year knowing they were flawed as hell, but they kind of keep getting it done. And for the first time, I'm seeing a path to them actually being a playoff team, potentially, and not just this being a nice little start. I'm going with the Boston Red Sox at number 8. Look, I coming into the year, I did not hate their lineup. I felt like there was a lot of criticism about the lineup construction. I thought it's fine. I know you lose JD. I know you lose Bogarts. There's some more than serviceable hitters in this lineup. Where we all thought they'd fall apart was the fact that they basically had the 2015's best rotation. Like you had Kluber and Sale and James Paxton. Okay, well, James Paxton's come off the IL and he's looked really good, and which is good because he's always had plus stuff. And I got his numbers up here. Chris Sale, 7 innings, 2 earned last night. Last 4 starts, 3-0 with a 2.30 ERA. That's 32 strikeouts over 27 and a third innings. Like, it's a long shot, but the only way that any of us thought the Red Sox could have some success this year is if those guys in the rotation turn the clock back 5 years. Well, I mean, maybe. It seems outlandish, and it seems like something that coming into the year was an impossibility, but every time I look up, they're beating somebody, and they have handily taken care of San Diego in this series out west. Not an easy place to play in. So there's some hope there. Like, of the reason I have them 9, or I have them 8, and not the team that I would assume is going to be 9, is just I think there's a higher possibility, higher chance of sustainability where they're at right now to make the playoffs, not to win the division, but to at least make the playoffs.
They've given up 235 runs this year. It's crazy.
The issue of the Red Sox is, I know you mentioned the starting pitching. If you look at it from the year in review here, they still do kind of suck. I mean, Chris Sale.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a small sample size I'm using. Yeah.
Nick Pivetta has an ERA of 6.30. Curry Cooper is.
He's out of the rotation.
But yeah, he is right. He's moving the bullpen. But here's the thing, though, is that even with those guys pitching that badly for the year, they're still winning. So, like, if Sale has turned a corner here and he is going to become the Chris Sale. And if James, like long term, like for the rest of the year,
okay, he's got to stay healthy. This is.
I've been telling you guys this was coming. I'm telling you.
That's fine. You can say that, but he still does have an ERA over 5 for the season. But if he can actually do what he's done the last few starts for the rest of the year, and you have James Paxton come back, and like Hub said, they stay healthy. That's the biggest if.
Big if.
Then they are really good. That's just they are good, and I'm with Castellani. I did not see this coming at all. I still have a lot of doubts just because I need to see those ERAs drop more before I really believe in buy-in. But
Yeah.
Paxton's looked really good those 2 starts. Like
their lineup needed about 2 to 3 of that middle group to like burst through. Yoshida's been awesome for
Yep.
them.
Yes.
I got him early and he looked terrible. And then I think they said he changed his hand position, when to put him a little lower, started to like drive the ball a little bit. So listen, I'll take one on the chin for Yoshida right now. And then Jarren Duran out of fucking nowhere has a 951 OPS. That's fucking preposterous. That guy, that's the dude who lost the ball in center field last year and just like didn't run after it and gave up like a grand slam. And Justin Turner's been very, very solid for them. Those guys producing in the middle of that lineup, obviously Devers and Verdugo were going to be the guys. They had to take the reins after Xander leaves, obviously, especially Verdugo. You know you're going to get out of Devers, but that middle of the order there, those guys I mentioned have been huge for them, and their offense puts up numbers. They have baffled the Padres this weekend so far. They're just a way better team, and there's more talent on the Padres side, but that team is playing a lot better. And they're on my radar now for sure. They don't play the fucking Yankees for like another month. This schedule is ridiculous, but they are very much an offensive power to be worried about, no doubt.
Yeah.
Save those Yankees Red Sox games when you can market them best when there is no NBA NHL to compete.
Yeah,
against.
that's true.
Fair
Good point.
point,
Good point.
Okay, April Chris Sale 825 OPS against. May Chris Sale 585 OPS against. 21 innings, 13 hits, 27 strikeouts.
He looked
last 3
really good.
Oh, he's got that sharp, funky horizontal angle coming in where he's attacking hitters that like they don't even know this fucking thing's falling off a table when you hit against him.
You know what it even was for me last? So I watched the tail end of that game, and he's out there. What was it, the 7th inning?
Seventh,
he finished strong in that inning. He finished. He just looked and that for Chris Sale, that's what you kind of want to see. What is his durability looking like later in games? He looked very good. That is a good sign.
He gave up a home run to Tatis, but it was a solo home run. He kept him obviously in the game. They won the game, but like he was good late in the game, just like Hub said. It was a really impressive start. I watched most of it last night. I was really impressed. And I mean, he's looked good like Carl said, he's looked good the entire month of May. I just want to see him do that again in June.
Yeah.
God bless you, Klemmer, because your timeline and like your perspective is outstanding. Like I just love when you do the historical dives. There was something you'd said recently on a show where you were like, for me to talk about this, we have to go back in history. And when we go back in history, I start with 1966. And it was just fucking pure. It was awesome.
You can give me that comment, Carl, but I still can't say Randy Arozarena.
Oh my God.
Yep.
It's not a Rosa Reina.
Hey, I'll be the name guy. I'll be Klemmer's name guy. I'm like the stash guy or something. Like I'll hold on to the gun for you. I will be the name guy. Don't just look at
you're
me
the guy. You're the guy on the NFL sidelines who's responsible for holding coaches back when they're about to charge the field. Yeah,
it's a great fucking job.
There's another word I couldn't say last week. I can't say it.
Pythagorean.
Yeah,
that one I get. That one I get a little bit.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different letters in there.
We have two words I can't say already. We're only in May.
Yeah.
Pythagorean is it? That's a tough one for Pythagorean is tough for. There's a lot of people listening to us right now that will speech something from childhood that's like Pythagorean was tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing before we get to the 9th team, we got some good feedback on the scorebook thing. So there's some developments.
Yes.
We talked about this on the American League show. I am working on a scorebook with Klemmer. We're going to design it. We're going to hand make a special limited edition. And I had this idea to make 43 of them because 43 is my number in college. It's a sacred baseball number to me. And then this year would be edition number 43. Next year would be 42. And then I'll just count down. And then when I die, if I don't make it through all 43, I'll just tell whoever I'm close with at the time on the way out, hey, make sure we get through number one. Like, just do me a solid and get through these. Maybe turn it into like a little fun community collector's item. Now, that's completely unrelated to the power ranking process. That has to do with keeping.
That's cool, though.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah,
I love
leather in the hand.
It's the greatest. I'm
like
going
a nice
to the game
book.
today. I'm going to keep score.
Like a pressed leather,
That
press.
Great.
Something that says like fucking. And then here's my wrinkle for the first edition is at the top. It says like date. You're always feeling like date, score, umpire, attendance, whatever. At my first thing at the top of our scorebook is, why will you remember this game?
Yes. I love it.
Nice.
because you always have like I don't remember any of the games I go to, but if you tell me and I'm like, oh, I was at that game, and then all of a sudden the memories start to flood. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, they had the double play in the third, we were going nuts, but like at this moment right now, I couldn't tell you what the fuck.
Yeah, almost like a subject line on an email. I like that. I will say, I was always as a kid the same way. I would keep score, and it would always be an awkward interaction with the cashier at Modell's, who's now bankrupt, by the way, but where I would be like this like 11, 12-year-old, whatever. Like my mom would drop me out in front of the store. I'd go in and buy a scorebook, and usually the fucking 40, 50-year-old coaches are buying that. I'm like an 11-year-old buying it. They would just be flabbergasted by that notion. But I like keeping score.
Nothing but diehards here, boys. We're gonna get to the ninth pick here. Do we want to do a countdown 3, 2, 1, and everyone say their ninth team? I would.
Yeah, let's do it. I'd be shocked if we're not all in the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Twins.
Diamondbacks. Who'd you say, Carl?
Twins. They got the.
I said Twins.
Fifth,
Oh, really? Oh, really? I had D-backs.
they got the fifth best run differential in baseball. They're first place in their division. They've got 3 very good starting pitchers. I know they're not impressive. I know I shit on their fan base and their culture. But they certainly, to me, are a top 10 team in baseball.
You know what's weird is everything you said is correct, but I just keep adding. I just keep adding, but it's the Twins to the end of it. It's like if everything you were saying, 3 good starters, like a lineup that's probably going to come around, like your big free agent signings, been slumping a bit. You have a closer who throws pitches that shouldn't exist. 102, one splitters at 103, and I don't know what it's going to take for me to buy into them. It might just be as simple as I need to see you in October. But they're having a good year. Part of it too is the division they play, and I think it's honestly even worse than the records would indicate right now. But yeah, I can't. They were 10th for me, so we're splitting hairs at that point. But
Yeah.
Does Carlos Correa finish with an 800 OPS?
I'm gonna say no, but like in that 750 to 770 range, where it's like a good year, but yeah, obviously he slumped for a bit early on.
I don't know.
684 right now.
At this point, we have to wonder: is he playing hurt? Is there something else going on that we're not aware of? It's been so bad for so long. I don't know, and that's the one thing I'll say about the Twins, though. If he does get his shit together, how much the Twins already have a 3.5 game lead in Central. Let's say Correa starts to play like Correa can play. They're going to run away with that division. Now, that's why I have the Twins number 9.
Yeah, and they're going to run away with that division right now. Detroit's in second place, so
I just like what the Diamondbacks have done. I just like what the Diamondbacks have done. They've held their own, man. I think we named them the first or second week probably on here, and we're like, oh well, this will be the last. They're still kind of here, 26-20. Like they've had good years here. Kettle Marte, solid year. Lourdes Gurriel's at 900 OPS. Corbin Carroll's been fantastic to watch as a rookie.
Yep.
They're fun. Probably the weirdest result of the week. Zach Gallen getting fucking manhandled by the Pirates.
Dude, did anybody see the Zach Gallen story of him getting traded from the Cardinals? Oh, it's fucking awesome. It's awesome. It was out this week on AJ Pierzynski's podcast. AJ Pierzynski has a podcast with a guy who used to host for MLB Network, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on the name, but he tells a great story of how when he got done with
Isn't it like Foul Territory or something? Yep.
Yeah, Foul Territory is the name of it. It's a great clip. He basically says the Cardinals, after his AAA season, when he's highly regarded pitching prospect, they were like, hey, you have to come down to do winter workouts. We do an off-season winter thing for minor leaguers. And he was like, no. I'm not doing that. I just pitched a whole minor league season for you guys. I'm not going to your fucking winter camp. And they were like, no, you have to come down here. So he skipped it the first weekend. Then the next weekend, his buddy was getting married. So he was like, I'm going to my buddy's wedding. So then finally he was like, fine, I'll go down there. So we went down there, and he was down there for a day or two. And he was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it. So he goes to the lead. They called him when he went to the airport. They're like, we just traded you to Miami.
Wow.
The fucking you got your feelings hurt. Oh, poor Cardinals. Was Zach Gallen didn't want to do your fundamentals in November? Go, you morons. You're morons.
There was also, I think, on that pod, he was talking about all the stars that basically he was playing with on the team that just they fucked over. They just fucked all that. I mean, the Cardinals are still relative not this year, but usually a juggernaut. But they had some talent that they let get away.
The Diamondbacks have looked very good this year for sure. I have them at number 10, but I do worry about their rotation though after Gallen and Kelly though.
Yeah.
There's nothing there honestly. And
Yeah.
so that's why, for me, I think the Twins, plus the Twins being in first place, are the better team. But I did have the Diamondbacks 10.
So this is more of a future thing. You're doing that thing.
No,
again
he
where you
does
just-
that. He does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
he,
you're doing that
he likes
future
to
thing.
go into June and tell you why the team sucks in June while we're doing
For
it.
me, when we get this low, I like to give appreciation to the shit teams that we didn't think would be here. That like kind of are
Yeah,
here.
that's fair.
It's not a
Like,
fucking
I
charity,
understand that-
Hubs. This isn't a charity. This isn't like, oh, good boy.
They've had a good year. They've had a good year.
That's not what we're doing.
They've had a good year.
They've had a good. They're 26-20.
That's fine, but this isn't like a little pat on the ass, like, oh, you've been terrible for years, so now here's your attaboy. Like, no, Twins,
I mean, that's what teams do. That's what we do when the Mets win a game. Like,
the Mets won 101 games last year, Hubs. You fucking Nestor Cortez motherfucker got ERA over 5. No way.
see, that's the problem with you. You're worried more about Nestor Cortez's start every 5 days than the Mets.
No,
offense,
the Mets
which
have
is
won
abysmal.
3 in a row. They're gonna win again the next game. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
3 in a row.
2
Well, they
against
pitched.
the Rays.
Hey, Verlander versus Bieber tonight. So at
That's
the time
fun.
recording, Verlander has not pitched against the Guardians, so we don't really know what's going to happen. Predictions for Bieber versus Verlander.
Is Gary gonna catch?
Oh,
They're gonna catch
you know
one
what?
of these games.
I want to tell you guys a story real quick, and I'm sorry I don't like to break this, get to this point, but I took the Royals out to dinner last night. We had a great time.
Hey,
a bunch
attaboy.
of guys there, and this is beside the point. We walk into this Italian restaurant. It's like a reservation for 20, and I know the guy who owns it. Hey, well, old Italian place. It's a bunch of the younger guys on the Royals. We get the fucking table. We sit down. An older man comes up to our table right away. Our reservation was for 8. It got pushed back to 8:30. We don't get seated till like 8:45. This older guy comes up to the table, puts his hand on Matt Duffy, and like puts his hand on my shoulder, assuming I'm like and he just looks at the table and he goes, "Well, fuck, boys, you guys wanted a meal. You don't have to. You could just called me. You didn't have to wait till 9:00 to get a reservation here. Fuck." Turns around, sits down. It was Phil Cuzzy, and the umpires were sitting
No
next
way!
to us. I swear to God. The umpires were hanging, and it wasn't. I was like, dude, why don't we pick up their check? Like they were like, no, you can't say that's like a huge. There's rules of
Well, yeah,
how
that's
you're
like
allowed to-
bribing.
So, dude, of course, right? So I'm saying purely from a fan perspective, just like you're just like
They're like,
"Fuck,
yo,
dude, like,
we'll get fucking suspended.
like we should, like fucking that's Phil Cuzzy. They're like, yeah, dude, he umped our game today. Like and so they were going around the crew or whatever, and they're like, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. And I'm like, you guys, I got it. It's Phil Cuzzy. I have to. So they get up to leave and they make another smart ass comment. Like, you guys gonna be okay. Like, you guys gonna be ready to play tomorrow. You're here late. Like, they were just busting our balls for eating so fucking late. And the umps had finished their meal. I did have a moment with one of them, and I wish I knew his name. But he came over and they were like, just hey, like, have a good night, guys. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, or whatever. And I looked at one of them and I fucking wish I knew his name. One of the younger, dorkier guy, and I said, no one's going to fucking ever compliment you on this, but all you guys do is get shit on. All anybody ever does is shit on you guys. So if I could just take a second to say, thank you for everything that you do for this game. And the look on his face, he's like, nobody ever says that to us. Like, nobody's ever fucking cool to us ever.
Yeah.
Did
No way I
Phil
would say that.
Cuzzy.
He's a
Phil
terrible
Cuzzy.
umpire.
Carl,
terrible
did Phil Cuzzy throw you out of the restaurant for having rosin on your hand?
Yeah, that guy's terrible.
I was going to say, you should have shook his hand on the way out and give it a
We
little.
are not going to shit on Phil Cuzzy right now.
This is
No,
a pro
I
Phil
will.
Cuzzy podcast. It's a pro Phil Cuzzy podcast.
No,
Oh no, Phil
not with
Cuzzy.
me here.
Phil Cuzzy stinks.
The only official, we got to separate ourselves from the pack. It's the only official pro Phil Cuzzy baseball podcast in the known world.
Speak for yourself.
Dude, you know what? How many umpires would he didn't big league me? He was cool. There's got to be a little bit of that. Like, all right, that's nice. The culture. The boys were out having a meal.
Yeah, and you know
that's
what?
Nice. And the umpires too were probably sitting around talking about how to implement rule changes a little bit. And I also like the fact this is old school Italian Chicago. This is not like Gibson's where you're in the middle of the foot. Like, you got to go find this place. So it was nice to see them in a corner table. Just, dude, and the stories they probably have. Umpires probably have way better
Umpire
stories
stories have to be
They have a lot of
crazy. Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
I threw this guy out for this reason. I threw that guy out for that reason. Just story after story after story.
You're
I
a
wish I could
fuck,
meet Ted
Klemmer.
Barrett. He
Fuck
seemed like a
him.
good guy.
He threw out Verlander. That's bullshit. It fucked up our whole fucking month.
Yeah, I'm not a Cuzzy guy. I like Ted Barrett though. You run into Ted Barrett, you let me know. I like Ted Barrett.
Teddy Barrett, 6'10", knock your ass out, and one apparently a fighter. Okay, so are we cool with the Twins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to read off 1 through 9. This is the power ranking panel. We have the Rays 1, Rangers, Dodgers, Orioles 4, Braves 5, Astros 6, Yankees 7, Red Sox 9, Red Sox 8, Twins 9. That's 2 National League teams, guys.
Wow. Well, the AL East is clogging up everything right now. I think is part of it. I think that 2 through 5 here are going to lead to the most discussion. I think there's a lot of people who are going to feel like 2 through 5 are almost interchangeable. Like the Rays are locked in at 1, and I think that we got Houston at 6. They're on the up and up, but between the Rangers, Dodgers, Orioles, and Braves, it really depends on the day.
Especially if Kershaw lays an egg against the Cardinals today and they lose 3 or 4 in St. Louis, people are going to be like, why are the Dodgers there?
Yeah.
So, but we're doing this at 11 a.m., so give us some fun.
That was the only game I think that really could impact things.
I agree.
And now, as we say this, first pitch is about to start. I love these Sunday morning. I really do.
I like it too.
Thank you guys for showing up and this has been my favorite show so far.
It's
been fun.
There's a lot of substance here. The stories are starting to come together. And Klemmer, I'm just gonna get you a calendar or watch, just so you know, like this is the day and this is the time and this is what we're not in June. I'm not in July. We're right now, living the moment. Okay.
The future matters, Carl. And as being, such a young hip guy, I know the future more than anyone.
This is the Barstool Baseball Power Ranking Panel show on Mondays. We'll be back on Wednesday for National League, and then again, of course, Friday for American League. That's the scheduled programming for now. Subscribe to our stuff. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.